back at MRC Tuning. Time to get some more noise from this thing. Right folks, so welcome back to another video. The title is correct. We're finally doing our first kind of big mod to the RS3, if you can call it a big mod. I never did a full exhaust on my older one, so quite looking forward to doing one on this. But yeah, we'll get the car inside, let it cool down for a bit, and then I'll show you the full system. But before we do that, let's get some stock exhaust clips. So as you can tell, because it doesn't have an OPF, it already does sound pretty great, and it doesn't have a soft limiter because we did remove it when we were at stage 1. Okay, so this is the Milltek exhaust we're going to be fitting. This is the larger variant, so it's got the V2 downpipe. This is essentially designed for higher power applications like stage 3. That was our 2 versions, and they bought this out, I believe, last year or the previous year. So I'm going for a DCAT, so it's a full turbo back system, non-res of course, and then we've got a relatively decently sized back box. Now I have gone for burnt titanium tips. Yes, I know, maybe it will work, maybe it won't, but I did it on the M140i and I quite liked it, so I thought I'd replicate that. It does also retain the factory valves as well. Now I will leave a link to the Milltek website and their Instagram page down below if you want to learn a bit more about this system. Right, so we're back again with Dean. It is first thing in the morning, so I won't bug him too much with the camera. We've already got the intake pipe off as well, so the process on removing an exhaust on a 4-wheel drive car is obviously a bit more trickier than say the GTI, isn't it? We've got the prop in the way. Yeah, there's a fair bit more in the way. So yeah, just gets a couple of bits from up the top, and then everything else is done underneath. Okay, so a look at the standard exhaust. We've got stock cats in place. Yeah, that looks a bit Mark 5-ish. Well, seems every car's going that way. Anything to note here, Dean, at all?
Well, those studs you just pointed out, they always look like that on these. Doesn't matter if it's a year old or 5 years old. Right, okay. They're always a bit crusty there, and they tend to snap. And we're not reusing them, so it's not a massive issue for today. You've got your resonators. Yeah. And then that just feeds back into the back box. Yeah, stock RS Sports exhaust. Looks very similar to the Mark 7 underneath because it is still an MQB, but yeah, not much to note here. First casualty of the RS3. Second casualty of the RS3.
Yeah. You know what? They look exactly like N54 downpipe bolts. They do, and they're just as bad as the N54.
Do they snap off as well?
They do, yeah. But the odd thing is that car's got like 12 years on this, so I don't know what's going on here. Oh yeah, there's a prop shaft there, which we are going to have to take off, aren't we? At some point. Yeah,
because it goes in between the 2 exits of the downpipe. You have to remove it to get the downpipe out.
Basically, to fit a full exhaust on an RS3, the first step is to disassemble the whole car. That's pretty much it. So is that the electronic valve control there then? Yeah, so that's the valves unplugged, and then we need to swap the motors over to the new back box. And there we have it, the lovely RS Sports exhaust getting dropped off the car. I'm not going to lie, I do really like these systems. I think one of the more noticeable things is the fact that the stock exhaust does pancake in certain areas like this, whereas the Milltek system is pretty much the same all the way through. It is 80mm as catback, which I believe translates to 3.15. Right, so I looked away for literally 1 second and the new downpipe's already going in. Pretty interesting angle you got there, Dean.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward to get on, so it's better to be lower down. And
yeah, you've got a Milltek downpipe just resting on your head there. Okay, so link pipes are on. Now we're putting on the 3rd bit. All that remains now is to get the back box on, and we have already transferred over one of the motors for the valves.
Got a little spring they supply you with, which basically adapts the motor to this valve. So that just drops into there, and then you're that way around, and then your valve will lock onto there, and that allows it to spin.
Okay, and the beauty of this is we retain the sort of factory drive select kind of comfort and dynamic modes essentially.
Yeah, so everything stays the same. as it would have been with the stock cap back on.
Pretty snug fit there.
Yeah, so what we were saying earlier with it staying away from the prop shaft.
Yep.
When they heat up, they move back about an inch on the dyno.
Oh, okay.
We've had issues before where the prop will come around and it will touch the pipe there.
So with that being that much distance, there's enough room.
It gives it enough clearance to move back when it heats up.
Right.
It's surprising how much these move over a heat cycle.
Yep.
Obviously that section is all, you can't change the length of that, so it does get quite close here.
Yeah, on the subframe area.
But the back box will only move back when it heats up. It doesn't tend to shrink.
Yeah, if anything, it's going to go forward and create more clearance there, isn't it?
So as close as you can get there without touching, gives you as much room there, which is what we aim to go for.
Next stage, putting this link pipe on so we can put the fancy boy exhaust tips on, which are very light. Now there are various different options. You can get the Cerakote black. I believe you can just get standard silver ones. There might even be a carbon option, I'm not too sure. Initially I was just going to go for black tips like the RS Sports exhaust, but might as well switch it up a bit. Now of course, if you do enjoy content like this, or GTI stuff, or 140i stuff, or any of the other sort of hot hatch kind of content, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Also make sure to drop a like on it if you are enjoying it so far, and make sure to come down and see MRC Tuning for all of your VW group needs, and come and annoy Dean if you can. They'll be happy to assist. Okay, so the first stop, we're just going to check the valves are operational as they should be. Yeah, it's a lot louder than I expected. Seems okay, isn't it? I mean, that's an individual which has... Yeah, that's dynamic. Oh, that's done. Yeah, that's dynamic. Right, valves are open. Let's get it outside and let it warm up out here. Obviously, it's time for some revs as well. Yep, those exhaust tips are very blue. Not too sure if this works with this now though. Yeah, that's quite loud. So yeah, now that you heard what it sounds like, you're going to hear it a bit more because we're going to get the car onto the dyno and show you exactly what a exhaust does for you in terms of a BHP number, if you can even hear me. But yeah, the car currently is on a stage 1 as before, and it made 477 PS I believe last time when we tuned it. Usually when you do fit a turbo back exhaust, you get an engine management light on if you're going from a standard vehicle, but I'm pretty sure the tune that's on it has already accounted for that, even though it is a stage 1. Now obviously we are on the stock intake, stock intercooler, so it's not a full scale stage 2, it's more of a 1+. Now we are going to drop the shutter down, otherwise we're going to get noise complaints because it's before the end of the day, so... just then. Just remind me how much I like these engines. Yeah, don't know what to say. Sounds insane. And the shots are coming up. See my little handy tool, we're putting the camera on the little block there. Okay, so a few runs later, without changing anything on the map at all, just as it is.
Nothing's changed. It spools a little bit sooner.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit more peak torque because it comes in a bit sooner.
Yeah.
Marginally more. And then we've got the door shut, so the intake temps are still high, and that's what limits even a stage 1 car.
Ah, yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, so we've ended up with 480 PS for today, but torque...
704 newton meters, yeah.
Yeah, so torque's jumped up a fair bit.
We do the intake next, so the turbo intake pipe and the intake kit. I think that will benefit. You'll get another 20 out of that for sure. Because all the stage 1s with the intakes do more than this.
Oh, okay.
Or a lot of them do.
So
that next, but then you're still limited by the intake temps, so then do the intercooler after.
So is it heat soaking quite bad?
Yeah, it goes up to sort of 57, 60, which is high, just because the door's shut.
Yeah, that is quite high, that. Even after only a couple of runs as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so heat soak's our biggest issue here rather than anything else.
And it's a lot better on the road.
Yeah,
no
of course.
How good the fans are, it's better on the road.
Right, so there we have it. Not too much of a gain in terms of peak horsepower numbers. Obviously the torque has jumped up a fair bit. I am going to bring the car back next week once the Venturi intake is fitted. Yes, we are going to be fitting an Venturi, of course, just like the old RS3. I'm going to go for the full stage 3 arrangement, and I'm guessing that's when we're going to get some jump in horsepower figures, because it's all kind of a combined effect. Then it'll be like a full stage 1 plus, because as Doug was saying, cars with upright intakes and just a stage 1 normally do more than that. But either way, this exhaust is plenty for our sort of ongoing build plans. I'll probably share more of that as we head throughout the project. It is winter right now, so I'm not going to rush anything. But yeah, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you drop a like on it. Also subscribe for a lot more content to come. And yeah, let me know if I should change them exhaust tips. I am having doubts. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one.